3, 2. early investment. Another right hand to the body. Been a pretty good. Oh, yes. Down goes Hernandez. A right, blistering right hand over the top right Brewer.
From Omega Products International in Corona, California, it's time for Thompson's Boxing 3-2-1 Boxing. Thank you for joining us this Sunday afternoon, wherever you may be. I'm Duran, joined as always by Steve Kim and Doug Fisher. Jessica Rosales will be our Roman reporter today. 3 fights coming your way. You're going to see George Acosta and making his Thompson debut from Mexico, Miguel Muriano. But somebody that we're really excited about that's been making his name on the Thompson shows is the knockout artist, Ruben Ace Torres. And Steve, I want to start with you because we called his pro debut. You were excited about him, and now 4 years later, how do you feel about Ruben Torres?
Yeah, well, September of 2017, same venue, different atmosphere, actually outdoors on a Friday night. And back then, he was an unknown commodity of one Danny Zamora, who said, I have this young kid, big, tall. I don't know anything about him, really, because he's been out of the sport for about 2-3 years. He decided his higher education would come in the School of Hard Knocks. Fast forward to 2021, I think he's right at that stage, Beto and Doug. He's an 8-round fighter, and within due time, maybe by the end of this year, he could be a bona fide 10-round fighter.
And Steve, you're one of the few boxing scribes, if not the only one, that goes to gyms and you see him. This kid works. He puts in the work, doesn't he?
Well, I think at this stage, like many other prospects, his best fights are the ones you don't see with headgear and 16-ounce gloves. He's gotten quality work with a lot of world-class fighters throughout the various gyms. Even though Danny Zamora's regular gym has been closed off, they've been able to go to the gym in Bell Gardens. And from what they've told me last week is that nothing has really changed here. And this is going to be a very interesting developmental pattern, given the fact that I think the first 10 fights, you could say, was the ending of his amateur career.
Okay.
Now we get to the point where the matchmakers like Alex Campanova will tell you, now we get to the quote-unquote real fights. Not saying these other ones were fake fights, but there's a difference between a fight and a real fight.
And Doug, it's time to take those training wheels off, right? The real fights have to start for this young man. What does he have to do to progress to the next level? Because we've seen a lot of kids that are 10-0 with 10 KOs, and then all of a sudden,
Right, and Thompson Boxing doesn't want to develop somebody who's not ready to take that step into true contender status. They do a really good job, even though often it's under the radar of building prospects into contenders. And if they have that level of talent, building a contender into a world champion. And Torres kind of reminds me of Timothy Bradley 15 years ago. Not that they fight anything alike, but that they're not the up-and-coming prospect that everybody is buzzing about. In Tim Bradley's time, he wasn't the junior welterweight prospect that media here in Southern California were talking about. Everybody was talking about Victor Ortiz in Oxnard. That was the guy. That was the future. Fast forward 15, 20 years, it's Bradley we're talking about who's going to go to the Hall of Fame. Torres is in a great division, in the lightweight division. He has obviously the body frame to compete at 140 pounds, maybe eventually 147 pounds. These are the glamour divisions in the lighter weight classes here in America. So eventually people are going to have their eyes on him. I would say right now, like the Ring ratings panel, they're just beginning to hear about him.
Okay.
And what needs to happen, he needs another, 1 or 2 hard 8-round bouts to convince Alex Campanova that he's ready to graduate to the 10-round level. Once he's at the 10-round level, people are going to start to take notice. He's going to fight on bigger platforms against names. Once he's fought a name fighter, like a former title holder or a contender, that's when the rest of the boxing world is going to know about Ace Torres.
And he has a tough opponent tonight. Should be giving him some rounds. That's the main event tonight. Ruben Ace Torres. As always, interact with us on the Thompson Facebook page or the YouTube page. We see all the comments. We interact with you. We see you. We know that you're here. You're a hardcore fan. We will check out with you throughout the show. Right now, let's go to Jessica Rosales, the 4th member of our crew. Jess, what do you got?
All right, guys. Well, let's get right into it and let you know about the fights that we've got coming up tonight. Of course, it's the second event of 3-2-1 boxing here in 2021, and we've got 3 great fights for you. The main event tonight, you'll be seeing Ruben Ace Torres against Diego Contreras from Mexico. Now, the thing about Ace Torres, yes, he is undefeated, but he tells us that right now his confidence is at an all-time high. He's having a lot of success with these 8-round fights. Tonight, he'll be in another 8-round battle. But he says depending on how the fight goes, he is ready to make that move into 10 rounds. So we'll see how that main event goes later on tonight. Ruben Ace Torres and Diego Contreras. Now, the co-main event, another 8-round fight that we've got for you tonight, we'll be seeing Miguel Madueño against Bergman Aguilar. Now, both of these fighters have had to travel for this fight. Aguilar coming to us from Costa Rica, Madueño coming from Mexico, making his long-awaited U.S. debut tonight. He has a record of 22-0, 20 KOs. So it's going to be an exciting fight in that co-main, and I hear that there's going to be a lot of people watching out for Madueño tonight, including his mom, his dad, tias, tios, a lot of friends, family. We'll let the guys tell you a little bit more about his story once that fight gets started. That is the co-main event. But getting all the action started for us tonight, 6 rounds, opening up 3-2-1 boxing. We're going to have George El Yuyu Acosta against Edgar Ramirez. Now, El Yuyu, we saw him in September. He told us tonight he plans to be a lot more aggressive. He's been working on his footwork, and he's always had that jab there, but he's been working on how to utilize it a little bit more. As for Ramirez, he actually has more wins by knockout than Acosta has in professional fights. So he will be relying on that experience. He's got more than 30 professional fights under his belt. So that'll be where the action starts tonight on 3-2-1 boxing. But before we get things started, let's take a look back at yesterday and see how these guys prepared for tonight's fight.
Of 3-2-1 boxing, where you see the champions of tomorrow today. Proudly presented to you by Thompson Boxing Promotions. We start the action with our first bout of the evening, making his way into the ring. This is Edgar Ramirez.
Yeah, it's kind of loud.
Edgar Ramirez from Phoenix, Arizona, where he's at now. A veteran in the fight game. Over 35 fights. He's in here to give George Acosta some work. Ramirez, 5'9", weighing at officially 137.8 pounds. Thank you for joining us wherever you may be. Ramirez, Lupillo is his nickname, gets into the ring. He'll be in the red corner.
George Acosta.
George Acosta, El Yuyu, South Whittier is where he calls home. Los Mochis, Sinaloa is where his family has roots, always rocking Los Cañeros jersey, the Mexican baseball team down in Los Mochis. And he's got the rock music, that means Doug Fisher's all fired up.
Yeah, he's thrashing. I like the grind.
Our first fight of the night, and as always, tweet us on Thompson Boxing. Actually, we have a promo if you want to win a shirt. Best caption. Go and search the tweets from Thompson Boxing. We'll get you some swag out there. You can tweet at Steve Kim 323, Dougie Fisher IEFISCHER. If you want to send the tweets to them, they'll check you out. Cutman Sal in the corner. Lupe Contreras with the particulars.
Tonight's bouts are being sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission. Chairman is John Carvelli. Executive officer is Andy Foster. Set for 6 rounds or less in the super lightweight division. Being sponsored by Omega Products International, Belgard, Makita Tools, and Thompson Building Materials. Our judges at ringside are Max DeLuca, Ron Scott Stevens, and Christy Rosario. At the sound of the bell, the man in charge of the ring, veteran referee Raul Cais Sr. Presenting first, the fighter standing in the red corner. He enters wearing blue with neon green trim on the scale. He registered an official weight of 138 pounds. Tonight, this battle-tested veteran enters the ring in his 35th professional bout with 17 victories against 16 losses, 1 bout even, 14 of those victories coming by way of KO. Hailing from Ciudad Obregón, Sonora, Mexico, and fighting out of Phoenix, Arizona, Edgar Pito Lupillo Ramirez. Across the ring in the blue corner, wearing black with silver trim, he weighed in at an identical 138 pounds. In his 12th professional bout, with an outstanding record of 10 victories against 1 lone defeat, with 1 of those victories coming by way of KO. Representing South Whittier, California, George El Yuyu Acosta.
Los golpes aquí están perfectamente bien. Cuidado con las cabezas, buena suerte a los dos.
Raul Cais Sr., our referee tonight. Let's look at the particulars there, Doug.
Let's see how these junior welterweights match up. Acosta is the younger, fresher fighter. However, Ramirez has a slight height and reach advantage.
Acosta's only loss came to our main event fighter tonight, Ruben Torres, and that happened a couple years ago here in Corona, California. We're inside Omega Products International, the warehouse show. Thompson Boxing finding a way to get things done during the pandemic. This might be the last one inside the warehouse, but it's been a pretty cool atmosphere. It's a different vibe with the lights off, so kudos to everybody on the staff to get it done. It's very hard, but we're here. This one's scheduled for 6 rounds. 3 fights coming your way. 3-2-1 boxing on a Sunday afternoon. Acosta in the black trunks, and you can hear the microphones are really loud today. They're picking up all the ambient sound. You can hear all the punches being thrown. Our crack staff went and got you new equipment, so you're going to hear it. The lighting, it's smooth, it's getting done. Bring that down a little bit more, Paul, the ambient sound. Be all right. There we go.
I like that Acosta is starting fast. He's setting the tempo, he's setting the pace, he's controlling the distance, and he's the busier man, and he should remain the busier man if this goes 6 rounds, and it might. Acosta's not known for his punching power, but he's clearly the fresher fighter and the better athlete than Ramirez. And Ramirez being a veteran of more than 30 bouts, he's used to fighting 8 and 10 rounds. And a lot of times it takes a few rounds for those types of veterans to get into their groove and get warmed up. So it's good for the younger guy to just, at least, steal the first couple of rounds, just with activity.
Yeah, Doug, you mentioned that. One thing about Acosta, 10-1, but only 1 knockout to his credit. While on the flip side, Ramirez, a veteran of 34 fights. He's only been stopped 4 times, so I would label him as fairly durable throughout his career.
Yeah, it's a good test tonight for George Acosta, who trains at a Legends gym. He's becoming a spot. And then he's now a boxing trainer at DG Boxing in Long Beach, teaching boxing fitness classes, so making some side money as an instructor.
Yeah, and he's got some instructional videos on YouTube. And so you expect somebody who does that to have good technique and a solid foundation, and Acosta does. He's textbook.
Yeah, he's not your traditional YouTuber. He's actually giving you content.
Yeah, he is.
And shout out to everybody watching us right now. Always the best, one of the best guys out there, Francisco Salazar in the 805, checking in. Our good friend of always, Jim Boone, KO tickets. Once the fights do come back, all you need is KO tickets, and that's not a commercial. That's just the dude right there. If he ever gets off of his boat in Lake Michigan, And of course, Tim Boxeo checking in right now. And we have somebody watching us in Australia.
Good day, mate.
Yeah, Aussie Boxing Scribe. Melbourne, Australia, 8:30 in the morning, having himself a nice cup of coffee, watching boxing. So that's all you need. Thompson Building, transforming spaces into beautiful places. Orange, Fontana, Lomita, Camarillo, San Diego, Ripon, Sacramento. Thompson Building Materials, a great company founded by Mr. Ken Thompson, who's still a day-to-day operation for you, who created Thompson Boxing 21 years ago, and here we are bringing you fights during the pandemic.
And Beto, you talked about this could be our last foray here inside this particular facility. Starting on May 1st, California, I believe, is going to have its first event with Chris Arreola and Andy Ruiz at the War Grounds of Carson, and then 2 weeks later on the 15th, Danny Roman, certainly a very, very recognizable name to all Thompson boxing fans. He makes his return to the ring at the very same venue, and then on the 29th, Nonito Donaire takes on Nordino Boale. So things are opening up back, as you said.
And that fight in Carson for the heavyweights is going to be, I believe, capped at 2,000 people, so it's not full open, but there will be fans slowly coming in to you. We'll talk about that later on as the fights go on. And hello to everybody watching us on Facebook, leaving the comments. Sal Sanchez just jumps on in. We're going to have some news about Sal later on. He's a Thompson fighter, and he's been fighting those shows. Who's that guy down in Florida?
Tudo
Zavala.
My goodness.
Yeah, those Telemundo shows, right?
Yeah.
And whenever he goes there, whenever he goes to Florida, he's devastating.
Crushing people.
Yeah, one round and he's out. It's like, thanks, guys, later.
And cards like that are very important, such as this one. Look, I give all these club promoters throughout the country a lot of credit, but going back to the Tudo Zavala shows, people forget he was the original American stateside promoter of a guy by the name of Saul Alvarez.
True.
And if you look at
yes,
and there were some legal issues with that. And early on in his career, Teofimo Lopez fights, I believe, 2 through 5 were all with that program. I remember watching him several times on those all-star boxing cards.
10 o'clock at night here on the Pacific Coast. Check him out on Telemundo. Yuyu Acosta, George. Yuyu, a nickname given to him by the family when he was a little kid. Couldn't say George, so somebody called him Yuyu, and Mexican nicknames, they stick. Y saludos tolente en Ciudad Obregón, Sonora. Todos los yaquis mirando, apoyando a Lupillo Ramirez. Michael Rueda checking in. The Ochoa family in Blythe. We see you guys. We appreciate you.
Nice combinations and close from Acosta. Good jab and straight right from a distance. He's in complete control. Like I said, from round 1, he has set the tempo. He's doing a good job of avoiding punches, and he lands whatever he lets go.
Doug, I think down the line, this is what Acosta has to be as a volume puncher.
Yes.
Given the fact in his first 11 fights he only has 1 stoppage. And a lot of times, if you're not going to stop guys early during the matchmaking process when it's the most soft, when you start working yourself into 8 and 10 round fights, you're not going to suddenly grow power, at least not naturally.
Yeah, that's actually something I asked Acosta about. Like, no, you're older now. He's like, I'm 24. Like, I'm starting to feel, what you guys would say, the man muscles coming in. He's like, I'm not known for knockouts, but I'm feeling solid.
Yeah, he seems like he's physically stronger. I mean, he looks more. His musculature is improved from 2 years ago. And I'm sure he leads a Spartan lifestyle and does all the strength and conditioning work to go along with his boxing instruction.
Grand Rapids, Michigan, Hernan Campos checking in.
Grand Rapids, the home of one Floyd Mayweather.
That's right, that's right. You might think he's Money Mayweather in Vegas. No. Michael Dutchover checking in. We're going to have some news about Michael Dutchover and his love of In-N-Out. He is no longer Team Whataburger. Whoa. Yeah, right. Those Texas guys. And yeah, there it is. Dutchover checks in, and we are going to Texas 12th man, Reed Arena on the campus of Texas A&M. Banner Promotions night at the fights returns. Rumble at Reed. You'll see Dutch over from Midland, Texas, the main event. You'll have a heavyweight, and then Miguel Madueño, who's fighting next, is scheduled, if all goes right, to be fighting there. So you'll check that out on the UFC Fight Pass when we go to Texas. So I'm going to go look for Johnny Manziel. We're going to go look for all that other good stuff and see what's up. And just in Dutch Over's honor, I will have Whataburger. Not going to like it, but I'll have it. And speaking of Tuto Zavala, saludos Tuto, ¿cómo estamos? He's watching us right now. Arvin, California, Adelina Alvarez. As we go to the third round, scheduled for 6. Acosta, El Yuyu, and los Mochis in black. Ramirez. I always love the term, Stephen. I use it as much as I can. When I started working with you, Doug, the term professional resistance.
The rounds like this are very valuable. A lot of matchmakers will tell you, look, the first round highlight reel knockouts are great for the box set of the DVDs. Remember those things?
Nope.
But where you actually learn something are in fights like this. This is where guys like Ramirez are very, very valuable. Because he actually is fighting back a little bit. And for a guy like Acosta, look, given his style and his relative lack of power, he's going to have to learn how to navigate deep into fights as he moves up that ladder. If he ever gets to a 12-round distance, if he ever becomes that caliber of fighter, his fights are all going to be really long, grinding affairs.
Good 1-2 landed by Acosta.
He's showing us a little bit of everything. We're not just seeing the technique, but we're seeing the ring generalship and the defense. And as the old-timers would say, something should be moving on a boxer at all time. If his hands ain't moving, his feet need to be moving. If his feet ain't moving, then that head and upper body better be moving. And something's always moving on Acosta. So he's making up for that lack of punching power with activity. And I like that he continues to tap the body of Ramirez.
You must have been back there with me, Doug, when I went to go say hello to George. I'm like, so what's different about you now compared to your first fight? He said, I move.
Okay.
He said, I move, and my last couple fights, I forgot I had a jab. I need to use a jab and move around.
That's what you want to hear. And this is what you want to see. He's not just talking about it, he's being about it during the fight. And Ramirez isn't just giving up. Ramirez is crafty in there. He's able to block punches. He's able to slip punches. And he's occasionally throwing back. He's not just a punching bag. And now Ramirez's problem is he's not near as active as Acosta, and he doesn't have the athleticism. He's not very quick with his mitts.
And given his style, Doug, for a guy like Acosta, I forecast a lot of long-distance marathon fights. Physical conditioning is going to be absolutely key for a fighter of this type of style, and also his mentality. I think he realizes he's not exactly Julian Jackson in there. Of course, there's not a lot of Julian Jacksons, regardless, to be fair.
Not in the history of the sport.
Right. So now I'm going to ask a dumb question. Is Julian Jackson the dad of the chef? Jackson?
Yes, one of the hardest-hitting middleweights of all time.
Also a great guy.
Yeah,
if you ever get the chance to meet him.
If he touched you, he could freeze you. Ask Terry Norris.
Warriors Edge Boxing in El Paso, Texas. Thanks for boxing on Sunday evening. What's up, man? You guys have a nice lowrider scene. Go and check out a story by my friend Roberto Franco in Texas Monthly about the lowrider scene in El Paso. I was reading it in the hotel room this morning. And with Chico's Tacos, I know I was supposed to be there next week for the Munguia fight, which was canceled because of injury, but has been rescheduled for June, I believe. So Golden Boy will be going to El Paso soon. A good fight town, a real good fight town with some good history there. Regal Beltran checking in. Regal, I know you got a better joke than that one, bro. You're going to say he drinks beer with you on weekends? Come on. At least mixing a tequila or a Zima in honor of Steve Kim here. Come on, man. As always, leave the comment. And this is a non-traditional broadcast for you. We know that you're watching this, that you're a hardcore fan. And if you're going to say, man, why don't you guys call the action, bro? You can see the action. You see what's going on. We're having a conversation for you. No cussing on this one. But I am having a cocktail for you. I'm having a little Dos Equis lime. It's not bad. I like it. Good. I dig it. So make sure you guys share. Let everybody know what's going on with it. 2 more fights after this. Miguel Madueño and then Ruben Ace Torres in the main event. We're headed to the 4th. I like the progress I see from George Acosta.
Yeah, and this This is really good, what I'm seeing, because I'm seeing a little bit of everything. In his last appearance, I saw more aggression. I think we mentioned his one loss was to Ruben Torres, and I don't really remember much of that bout because it was largely uneventful.
It was I told both these guys it was a glorified sparring event because you guys are friends with each other.
Yeah,
so
it had the feel of a sparring session, but it's something that bothered me about that fight is that Acosta he wasn't aggressive enough. I needed more aggressive. I needed more of a sense of urgency, and I've seen that in recent bouts, and so that's an improvement. That's a good thing.
Fino Boxing, True Boxing, Warriors Edge, everybody checking us out. Appreciate you and the support that you give through 3, 2, 1 Boxing, Not Fight, Supreme Boxing, Fight Hub TV, Marcos out there.
Looking back at that fight with Ruben Torres, one thing that kind of stood out is that Ruben Torres' threat of his power was probably one of the more key deciding factors of that fight, given the fact I think George Acosta knew if he got into a shootout with him, that probably wasn't going to really bode well, and he just kind of methodically won. I remember there being a lot of close rounds, but you always got the sense that it was Ruben Torres kind of controlling the action, or at least the center of the ring. But I certainly don't think that loss has really set him back. Since that time, Acosta has put together 3 straight victories.
Yeah. Acosta will get in there. He'll mix it up with you. Actually, he has a new sponsor. He has a tequila sponsor now. Him and The Rock and Mario Lopez out there on tequilas.
Respect.
Not a kid who drinks it, though. He's all about fitness. You're right, Doug. You said that Spartan lifestyle.
Yeah, you could tell.
He's all about fitness and all about the boxing game. You can see him coming in and being used as a measuring stick, a tough one for somebody. Somebody that we've seen on the Thompson shows, Israel Mercado, fought yesterday on the DAZN show in Florida. Henry Ramirez took his fighter, who was here a couple months ago.
Right.
Came up short. So you can elevate yourself from here to the bigger stage, and these kind of rounds help you in those kind of moments.
Acosta's looking really sharp and smooth and relaxed, and he's poised in there. And you can always tell he's thinking. But I think in the past, maybe a year or two ago, it was almost like he was overthinking. And now he's just letting it flow.
All right, Henry Ramirez checking in. We lost a majority decision. Israel Mercado, a fighter from this area, Nicaraguan descent. And coming up next, Miguel Angel Madueño against Ruben Aguilar. You talk about a tough dude. Ruben Aguilar doesn't care who he's fighting. Just give me a visa. I'm there. I'm showing up. I'm going to give you a scrap. That'll be coming up next for you. And I was watching that fight on DAZN, Henry, and I even sent Henry a message afterwards saying, hey, you did a good job giving your guy instructions, but it was the guy was looking up at the big screen in the arena. Yeah. And when you're coming from the club show, well, we don't have those at the DoubleTree. So sometimes the progression, as we were talking about Ruben Torres, the progression of going from a ballroom to an arena.
It's an adjustment. It's those bright lights on those bigger events, they can freeze a fighter if he or she isn't ready for that.
You've seen that a lot.
Mentally ready.
Yeah, look, I even think it happens at the world-class level. I still believe that Gennady Golovkin, first 3 rounds in his first fight against Canelo Alvarez, the atmosphere and the magnitude of that event, it even affected a guy like him.
Yeah, he was tight. He was tight the first 3 rounds.
It took him a while to get started, so that's a natural human reaction. But as McAfoley used to tell me about bringing fighters along, he'd always say, Steve, you could be the greatest jockey in the world, but you need a thoroughbred. You can't win the Kentucky Derby with the mule.
Angel Mick Garcia, I mean, you got a better comment than that. He said, I play Fortnite with Ramirez at 1:30. First of all, no, he doesn't have Fortnite. I already asked him. He's a Call of Duty kind of guy. You got to be better than this if you're going to want to be a troll, man, because you're in here with the big boys with Steve and Doug Fisher. You talk about you got gloves and you want to spar? Don't come after Doug Fisher. Make sure I get my magazine, Doug.
Meet me at Blue Moon Boxing Club.
Okay, Blue Moon Boxing Club.
All tough guys.
You've been posting about that, right?
Love that place.
Is that Buddy McGirt's spot?
It's basically his spot, yeah. I call it the Buddy McGirt Boxing Funhouse.
Yeah, Lake Balboa.
So what is it? It's just his gym for his guys, or is it open to the public, or what is it?
It's kind of, sort of, but we're trying to keep it undercover right now with all these rules and regulations.
Well, then stop posting pictures of your there.
No, but
hard not to.
wait a minute. If you notice, I post pictures from the inside, but I never give up the exterior.
Oh, it's from parts unknown.
Right.
Okay.
It does have a camouflage, so it's not easy to find.
But it is open to the public.
Yeah. And it's a pro gym, and Buddy McGirt, he's the main trainer there, but James Toney hangs out there and will occasionally train guys. Zab Judah has a house in the area. He comes by.
Okay.
So, there's some boxing royalty there, some Hall of Famers.
And Kenneth Wack, who every fan of Martin knows him.
Tommy?
No. God rest his soul. He died.
Yeah.
Did Tommy die? No.
Yeah. Kenny Wack was a good friend of Martin Lawrence. Grew up with him. Actually boxed with him. Martin Lawrence boxed. And then what happened was he was one of the writers and he was part of the staff on the show. And every time Dragonfly Jones, one of the alter egos of Martin, he was the assistant that was always owed money.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they would beat his ass.
Yeah.
Kenzie.
Oh, so he goes to the gym.
No, he's one of the trainers.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Tommy, I didn't know he didn't have a job.
Now back to the action in the ring. I like the way Acosta's now banging the body. And that's what he's going to have to be down the line. He's going to get longer fights. We know he's not heavy-handed, but there's more than one way to skin a cat. That's to chip away with activity and volume.
Yep.
And then once again, he goes downstairs with a double left hook. That's going to have to be what he is, I believe, moving down the line, is an inside grinder that could just chip away and slowly break down his opponents.
Yuyu Acosta, saludos a la gente que está mirando y apoyando al George Yuyu Acosta. Good round. We head to the last one. Keep the comments coming on the Facebook page. Also tweet Steve Kim 323, and 323 is his area code. That's how strong he reps.
Órale.
Exactly. You tweeted the other day about something in Montebello. You went to get menudo?
Well, Raphael's, the famous restaurant that I've been there many times. I've been able to take Emmanuel Stewart, Robert Garcia, Doug Fisher's been there more than once. It's like the spot. Frank Espinoza, the manager, we've had many meetings there.
Oh, yeah.
And all the businesses, at least in that city, are operating at least 50% capacity. So it's good to see all these small businesses come back.
So, including boxing. Because a club show is a small business.
And final round.
And kudos to Alex Capanova, Mr. Ken Thompson, Jeanette Gonzalez, everybody involved with Thompson and making sure that you can get it, because I don't know, I think, Steve, you tweeted about this, how many club shows are going to be able to come back. Well, it's expensive to get it going, and especially you can't sell tickets.
Beto, I've been able to talk to various club show operators throughout the country. A lot of them really may not be able to open back up, at least not in the form that they did prior to 2020. And a lot of them are going to be really, I don't want to be careful with my wording here, but they are going to be under the domain of the government.
Yeah.
And because some of these regulations in one state simply do not apply to another.
Yeah, and for these young fighters too, when you're fighting on the club show, if you sell tickets, you get a percentage of that on top of your purse. So it's an interesting, but the fact that we even have the fights is good, and George Acosta is looking good in this opening bout. We're in the 6th and final round. It is Yuyu.
And Beto, you take a look at the activity of Acosta. He has not fought since last September. Now, Thompson Boxing has been able to operate, but they've had a truncated card. So they only had 3 cards for every show. So fighters that may have been used to be fighting 60 to 90 days are probably now backed up 4 to 5 months, as you've seen with Acosta. So there's a lot of levels and a lot of layers to this whole discussion. You know, you talk to a guy like Lou DiBella, he is certainly a club show operator at various levels. You know, I don't know when that Broadway series is going to be able to come back, if ever.
You guys will notice Ramirez is letting his hands go in this 6th round. And as I noted in the 1st round, fighters with his level of experience, used to fighting 8 and 10 rounds, they don't warm up till about now.
Angel Camacho, saludos desde Puerto Rico. And whenever you say Puerto Rico, Steve Kim says, "Huepa!" George Acosta with the Cal High, home of the Condors, not too far from the gym in South.
Cal High, the old Whitmont League.
Wow, you're throwing it way back, Steve.
When I was at the Montebello High School, they were not a rival, to be honest. They were in the same league, though.
We're going to have to get you to have some references from this century, Steve Kim. You look young, but, bro, some of your references are way out there.
I'm the VHS of references. I agree.
It might be A-Track right now. Less than a minute to go in the fight. Yuyu Acosta looking good tonight. He's solid. He's not going to come out and overpower you, dominate you, but he controls the fight. I really like his action.
And he's pesky. That's the way I would describe him.
He's just now showing a little bit of signs of fatigue. You're kind of seeing it in his face and his body. But for 5 rounds, it was just smooth sailing. All the punches were flowing. He had all the right moves. Nice body shot landed by Ramirez. Ramirez, the veteran, coming on strong, but too little, too late.
Man, Ramirez is tough. He comes in you that professional resistance, and they go 6 good rounds. They tap gloves, the sportsmanship, the hug, and they go, and we'll go to the cards. Good action in the first bout of 3-2-1 boxing.
Paving the way to your personal sanctuary that you simply can't stop thinking about. Find yours at Belgard.com.
Experience the world's largest compatible cordless system. Makita's LXT batteries take you from power tools to outdoor power equipment. The blower delivers power comparable to a 24cc gas model. From the job site to your home, reach speeds of 116 miles per hour. Use Makita's cordless products anytime, anywhere. One system, endless possibilities. Now get 2 extra free batteries.
After going all 3 rounds here at the Omega Products International Event Center, we consult the official scorecard to determine a winner. All 3 judges are in complete agreement, turning in identical scorecards of 60-54 in favor of the winner by way of unanimous decision. From South Whittier, California, El Yuyu, George Acosta.
Congratulations to George Acosta, El Yuyu, Los Mochis, Sinaloa. He's now 11-1. Doug, what did you like tonight?
I liked everything I saw from Acosta. I liked that it was a poised and controlled performance. I liked his activity. I liked his punch selection, the combinations, and the body attack. It was just a good, solid 6 rounds of work, and it lets us know that maybe in a fight or two, he could be fighting at the 8-round level, and that's the goal, to slowly progress 8-rounders and on to 10-rounders. But he's ready for 8-rounders.
And here ringside, we're looking up. You see Doug Fisher. I'm in the middle, Steve Kim, and we have glass separating us. We're good. Get that little social distance as best as you can. Steve, as they clean the ring and disinfect it. Yuyu looked good tonight.
Yes, he's going to figure out that his ring identity is going to be of a long-distance runner. As I described him just a couple of minutes ago, he's pesky. He's going to have to pick and paw. Certain guys are like shark bites, like Julian Jackson. He could take you out with one bite. Other guys are like mosquito bites, and that's not a pejorative because
mosquito bites hurt, man.
They do. Especially,
why don't you say piranhas?
Yeah, piranhas. Right. Go
shark. You go shark with the great Julian Jackson. Give the kid some credit. Piranhas.
You
eat them away.
My apologies for that. You
Mosquitoes.
are a piranha because you take small bites, as Teddy Atlas would say. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. So physical conditioning is going to be key for him because he's going to be in a lot of long fights. And I have some career advice for Yuyu as a trainer, and I get this straight from Kenny Wack and every other trainer. As a trainer, train white-collar, regular people for one reason. They always pay you. Fighters always don't.
That is so true. And
just
they
saying.
pay you that day.
And they pay you well. They pay you well. So George, there it is. That's from me to you.
And if they don't show up, charge them.
Charge them.
Jessica Rosales always shows up, but she still charges us. What's up, Jess?
All right, guys, thank you so much. Now, of course, you got the W tonight, and I think for me, one of the most impressive things is you told us, I'm going to be a lot more aggressive. I'm going to use that jab more. It's always been there, but I want to really use it. And tonight we saw those changes. So tell me about how it feels, putting those into work tonight and how you felt after that fight.
Yeah, so we've been practicing a lot. I mean, I've always had a good jab ever since, I started boxing, and we kind of got away from it. Just over time we were sparring, and then I'm like, oh, my jab has been 70% of what I throw. Why not do it in the fight? So we're like, okay. So we practice a lot on the jab and just being more aggressive during sparring, and it translated well in the fight.
Yeah, it almost seemed like you didn't really get quite break, in that fight. You were throwing punches the entire time, and of course your opponent, a veteran in the ring. Do you think a lot of it had to do with his style, or was that part of that game plan that you guys had going in?
No, that was a game plan going in, regardless who the opponent was. That's something we've been wanting to improve on and really just master. So regardless of the opponent, I think that was our style going in. And the opponent was good, durable. He had good upper body movement, which made him a little tricky to land a solid punch on. Yeah. But other than that, I think we did a good job.
Yeah, and of course you stayed busy in the ring, and
yes.
Now of course you're going to be staying busy now that you're stepping out of the ring, because you've already got your next fight lined up. And of course we just found out that you'll be having that fight on May 7th. It's going to be on Telemundo against Gadwin Rosa. So tell us about that. And obviously it's a quick turnaround, but
right.
You feel pretty confident about it.
Yeah, we feel confident. We got the news I want to say about a week ago, leading up to this fight, and we did get a little excited, but we had to really take a step back and be like, hey, it's one fight at a time. And my coach tells me all the time, whatever fight is next will always be your last fight. That's how we approach every single fight, like if it's our last fight, because you never know. Boxing is a dangerous sport, and it could very be your last fight. So we have a fight scheduled for May 7th. It'll be at 130 pounds. Yep. And I can make the weight. Leading up to this fight, we were asking for 132 pounds. I was under one. Today I weighed in at 140. I've been under 140 for the last 3 weeks. Yeah. So I didn't have to lose. I didn't have to cut any weight for this fight. Yeah. But yeah, May 7th is our next fight.
So we're at April 18th today. The fight is May 7th. At what point do you start training for that? I mean, are you going to get at least one day of a break tomorrow, or are you back in the gym Monday morning?
We got the rest of the day to relax, and tomorrow we're going to be back in the gym.
The rest of the day, that's the break that you get, and that's it,
yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I mean that's how it has to be. If you're a professional fighter, if you're a professional anywhere, you gotta, you have to always be working no matter what you do, because if you're not working, someone else is working, and they're going to get better. So
that's boxing, people. That's how it is. These guys are constantly working. And of course, before we let you go, that YouTube channel, the last time we talked to you about it, you had about 1,000 subscribers.
Yes.
Now you have gone up to almost 6,000 subscribers. Yeah. Keeping up with those videos. Tell us about that. And are we going to be seeing a vlog from this fight?
So the last time I was here back in September, I had just broke 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Today I'm a little over 6.2 thousand. And yeah, I just love sharing advice on boxing, nutrition, exercise, just behind the scenes stuff that has to do with boxing, the business side, everything. And yeah, I'm working on the video. Somebody commented, somebody left a suggestion saying, "What do you eat post weigh-in?" So I recorded everything I ate leading up to this fight.
All right, so if you guys want to have a look behind the scenes at what a boxer's life is like, make sure you're following this guy on YouTube. Take a look at those videos, and of course follow him because his next fight, May 7th, coming up really soon. So Congratulations on the win. Thank you for the time, and of course we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. All right, now as we talk about getting that behind the scenes look on El Yuyu's YouTube channel, we also want to give you guys a behind the scenes look of what we do here on 3-2-1 Boxing. Coming up in our next fight, we got Miguel Angel Madueño against Bergman Aguilar. Now we've got a video to show you that shows what went on during their weigh-in, and then of course their photo shoot, everything that goes on behind the scenes as they lead up to the fight tonight.
Now entering the ring, Bergman Aguilar.
From Costa Rica, Tico, Bergman Aguilar, Snake the nickname. Doug Fisher loves the rock music he's coming in too.
It's about time. We need more of this in boxing.
Look at that. That's a good hoodie right there too. Just no sleeves, no command. I will say one thing that I think I really like because of the pandemic is that now guys come into the ring by themselves. Not 8,000 people with them. Mind you, it's going to ruin my future career as the guy waving the flag. I'm okay with it. But just come in by yourself and just strut. I like that.
His counterpart, Miguel Angel Madueño.
From Guasave, Sinaloa, Miguel Angel Madueño making his U.S. debut. 22-0, 20 KOs. Madueño is a fighter that Thompson has had their eye on for a while, but because of visa issues and trying to get the work visa that you need, he's been fighting in Mexico. Finally, they all got figured out. He is here now making his debut on 3-2-1 Boxing.
This is also his U.S. debut.
Correct.
We continue with the action to the Omega Products International Event Center, Corona, California. It is 3-2-1 Boxing. Proudly presented to you by Thompson Boxing Promotions and being sponsored by Thompson Building Materials, Henry Fortifiber, Infinity Bank, Western Manufacturing, and Makita Tools. This is our co-featured bout of the evening, set for 8 rounds or less in the welterweight division. Our judges scoring at ringside are Max DeLuca, Ron Scott Stevens, and Christy Rosario. The man in charge of the ring, referee Jack Reese. Presenting first, the fighter standing in the red corner, wearing red with gray trim. On the scale, he weighed in at an official 142 pounds. Tonight, He enters the ring in his 23rd professional bout with a record of 15 victories against 6 losses, 1 draw, 5 of those victories coming by way of KO. Representing San Jose, Costa Rica, Bergman, the Snake Aguilar. Across the ring in the blue corner, wearing blue with green and white trim, he weighed in at an identical 142 pounds. Tonight, this Mexican power puncher is making his U.S. debut with an undefeated record of 22 victories, 20 of those victories coming by way of KO. Puro Guasave, Sinaloa, el Explosivo, Miguel Ángel Madueño.
Trunks are good on both sides. It's good here, Mapis. Good luck. Fight hard. Fight clean.
Let's check out these junior welterweights. Aguilar, the older man at 36, he's 14 years older. He has a slight reach advantage, and he's the taller man.
Miguel Ángel Madueño. Appreciate everybody watching us on Thompson's Facebook or YouTube page, and the beauty of boxing. Appreciate the post on Instagram as you tagged us. Yeah, Miguel Madueño from Guasave, Sinaloa. Actually, that would be the big city. He's from somewhere even smaller, Rancho La Entrada. About 1,000 people on his farm, or in the little town where he's from. Mom, Maria Elena, Papa Miguel Ángel. They have a farm, they grow crops. And they said that the only thing he's good for is for boxing. That's the joke in the family. He's like, I don't play soccer, I don't play baseball, I just box. His dad actually took him, and his uncle is actually a referee in that area, so that's how he got into the sport of boxing. He's fought all over the state of Sinaloa in those club shows that, as he said, sometimes the better fights are the ones in the crowd.
And there's not a lot of footage of him.
No.
You can't find a complete fight of him, of his, on YouTube. From what I've seen, that this is what he's giving us. He's a straightforward search and destroy puncher. And I believe his nickname is Explosivo.
Yep.
And you can tell, there is dynamite in those punches. But he's a bit tight, you know. His defense really consists of occasionally blocking punches, but basically covering up as he tries to walk down his opponent.
Yeah, trying to find out who he is. Steve, we've heard these guys where they come out, oh, they're 20-0 in Mexico.
Yeah. Well, as he hits to the back of the head of Berman Aguilar, sometimes the records are better than the fighters. In other words, the matchmaking is very key, and they do what I call the Milli Vanilli. They may sound good, but you don't know if they're actually singing.
Okay.
And this is a very big record, but immediately off the bat, as Doug mentioned, he seems to have very heavy hands, swinging from his heels. But you can see technically he's not very tight. I don't think fundamentally he's very grounded or very good yet. And you can see his footwork and his balance isn't very good. He is facing a southpaw, but you could just kind of tell right now that he's still a very, very raw, very unrefined fighter from a technical standpoint.
Right, and beyond technique, he loads up with every punch. He's tight. His body is tight, and sometimes when a fighter is like that, after 3 or 4 rounds, they peter out. And we call those guys front runners.
Yeah. He's certainly a guy that swings hard and thinks later.
The scouting report I got was rugged and just throws.
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing. Pretty accurate. Hey, you know what? There's always room for just pure punchers, for sluggers in boxing. I'm all good with it. We'll see how far his power takes him.
And he's trying to load up, and Bergman Aguilar, the southpaw from Costa Rica, trying to throw his own, and he gets caught.
I think
right at the buzzer.
And it looked like that was a body shot. I think may have been a right hand to the ribs of Aguilar at the end of round number 1, Beto.
And he unloaded, and it's over. A first-round stoppage for Miguel Ángel Madueño. With 1 second to go in the round, he caught Aguilar with a body shot, and Aguilar is a vet. He's not staying down. Bergman Aguilar comes to fight, comes to give you rounds, and he must be hurting.
When you give Aguilar a little bit of credit, look, he's a seasoned veteran who's been in there with the likes of Dutchover, Cowboy Carl, Manuel Mendez, and Jason Sosa. I was hoping to see a little bit more because the one thing about Madueño, and Doug and I talked about it, that type of style, it can work for a round or two, but it's like a ball of yarn that unravels after a point in time. Now, we didn't get to see it tonight, but from a coaching perspective, I think Danny Zamora, if he's honest with himself, and he's a very honest guy, he's gonna tell his guys, we've got a lot to work on here technically.
And there's left hook lands. There's a right to the chest. There's the right to the head. There's a left that miss, and he's winging these punches. That right was right to the solar plexus.
Good job by our crew getting that replay, and you'll see it. So let me give you the story behind Madueno after the break. We'll come back, we'll get the particulars, and I'll tell you about how Madueno has no idea where he's at right now. But we're in Corona. We'll come back more on 321 Boxing.
Discover the advantages of the Henry Fortifiber 123 moisture control system. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. Choose the weather barrier, add the flashing, then finish up with the Henry Moist Top Sealant. Done. No guessing, no gambling. Just the winning confidence you get from our compatible systems.
Experience Makita's cordless outdoor power equipment. The mower is a part of the world's largest battery system and cuts non-stop for up to 2 miles. The self-propelled model makes mowing effortless. Get unstoppable power without the hassles of gas. Reach speeds of up to 116 miles per hour with the single battery blower. One system, endless possibilities. Now get 2 extra free batteries.
Here at the Omega Products International Event Center, referee Jack Reese completes the count of 10 with an official time of 2 minutes 59 seconds of the opening round. Your winner, by way of knockout, still undefeated, El Explosivo, Miguel Ángel Madueño.
So Miguel Ángel Madueño comes to the United States, and I was telling you he has no idea where he's at because he's from a small farm where he said about 1,000 people are in that area. Never been to the United States. He got picked up by our good friend Kite Monroe at Orange County Airport, and he said, wow, there are so many cars. This is literally the small town farm kid going to the big city, He's like, where are we going? Why are there so many people? He was just, he's been
Wow.
overwhelmed by all this. Danny Zamora, who's in his corner, he just met him on Tuesday. Madueno actually came to the United States because he's fighting in Texas on that banner show, and Peter Petrov couldn't get across the pond because of the visa issues. So Alex Cabanova said, well, here, you're fighting, bro. So he came to train and is now instead in the fight, and he gets the first round stoppage. So
you know what?
he does have no idea what's going on.
You know
right
what? Given the circumstances, not bad. I mean, Aguilar is not an easy guy to get rid of in one round, and this was late notice. He didn't even know he was fighting on this day.
No.
So I think that speaks well of him.
So this hotel that we're staying at for this bubble, first time he stayed at a bigger hotel.
Oh, it's like luxury. This is like a dream come true, huh?
And he has no idea what's going on right now. He just knows that to put the gloves on, he said to fight. So saludos a la gente que en Guasave, Sinaloa. And after this, he's going to do a real camp in Southern California where he's going to be with Ruben Torres and Michael Dutchover, learning the actual boxing world of like, hey, as you guys were saying, don't be so tight, right?
Well, look, you can't teach power, but I think with him you need to teach him a lot of other things. And look, I think there's going to have to be a mix of activity, but also a lot of gym time with the most basic fundamentals. I think it really comes down to that because, look, there's possibilities there because of his natural strength, but he's got a long ways to go regardless of the record.
And the record is now 23-0, 21 KOs, and another first. His first interview with Jessica Rosales.
All right, guys, we got Miguel Angel Madueño joining us now, who stays undefeated after that victory. A very short night for him tonight, but let's ask him how that fight went. So, Miguel, fue una noche muy fuerte para usted, pero ¿cómo se fue la pelea para usted?
¿Cómo dice, perdón?
¿Cómo se fue la pelea?
Pues fue una pelea, digamos, no muy fuerte. Yo me visualizaba ganando y por nocaut. No esperaba tan pronto, pero así se dio y pues le doy gracias a Dios por eso.
All right, he said that this was a fight that he visualized himself winning by knockout. He didn't expect it to be such a short fight, but that's kind of how this fight happened, and of course they're glad that they got the knockout. Now this is his first time making his debut in the U.S., first time even being here, so let's get his thoughts on that. ¿Es tu primera vez aquí en los Estados Unidos, la primera vez que estás peleando aquí en los Estados Unidos? ¿Cómo te sientes y pues cómo te parece todo?
Así es como usted lo dice. Es la primera vez peleando por acá. Estoy muy agradecido, más que nada con el señor Thompson, que me dio la oportunidad, me dio el espacio y esperemos no lo defraude nunca.
All right, he said that he's very grateful for the opportunity to be fighting here. Of course, he gives a big thank you to Mr. Thompson for giving him the space on tonight's card. And, he promises that the fights that he gives, he's always going to give 100%. And we know that you have a lot of people back home watching, all of your friends, all of your family. Is there a message that you have for them? Yo sé que tienes todos tus familia, todos tus amigos, todos en el rancho te están mirando ahorita por Facebook o lo que sea. ¿Qué les quieres decir a ellos?
No, pues más que nada darles las gracias, como usted lo dice, a todo mi rancho, todo mi ejido, que se llama La Entrada, igual ranchos alrededores que muchos me apoyan. Darles las gracias a mis padres que me dan el apoyo incondicional siempre, mi madre que me hace tanta falta y sobre todo mi novia que siempre me apoya en todo.
All right, he said he wants to give a thank you to everybody that's watching him back home in El Rancho. They call it La Entrada, and he wants to give a big thank you to his dad for all the support he's always given him. A big thank you to his mom, who he misses so much, and of course a big thank you to his girlfriend for all of the support that she has also had. So Miguel Angel, what is next for you now? Ahora, ¿qué sigue?
Pues hasta ahorita tenemos fecha, nuevo compromiso, que es el 28 de mayo en Texas, y esperemos salir también con la mano en alto, primero Dios.
All right. He said that right now they're kind of looking to the next date. They're thinking it might be May 28th, and he's expecting that fight to end the same as this one, with his hand up in the air with that victory. Miguel Ángel, muchas gracias por el tiempo y pues felicidades en la victoria.
No, gracias a usted, gracias por el espacio.
All right, guys, thanks for bearing with me on that Spanish. Miguel Ángel getting that win tonight and, of course, staying undefeated. Guys, we'll send it back to you ringside.
Back here at ringside, Bethel Durant, Steve Kim, Doug Fisher, the editor-in-chief of Ring Magazine. So we've had two fights done. One more to go, the main event, Ruben Ace Torres. But when you have two boxing scribes that know what's going on, the ins and outs, you take advantage of asking them questions. Now, before we get to Steve Kim, who's the most vocal and opinionated person on the panel, let me start with Doug Fisher. Doug, last night, we had a Triller event.
Oh, yes.
And that's all I'm saying.
Well, I heard it's about 5 hours long. I saw maybe about an hour's worth.
Okay.
And that was enough. You know what I mean? Nothing against Jake Paul. I don't understand the criticism of him. He's obviously late to boxing. Yes, he's a YouTube star first, but you could tell he's taking boxing seriously. He's really training, and I admire that. And for people who say that, well, he needs to fight a real fighter, listen, that was his third pro bout. Floyd Mayweather, who some people say is the greatest fighter of all time, I'm not one of them. I don't think Steve is either. If you go to BoxRec and look at who he faced in his fourth pro bout, it was a guy turning pro. So this is how professional boxers, even once in a lifetime talents like Floyd, who grew up in a fighting family, whose uncle was a 2-division champion, who was an amateur star, Olympic medalist, you take baby steps, not in just your first 3 fights, your first 10 fights. So I had no problem with the actual main event or the matchmaking. I just think it was really the commentary and the production was a bit over the top. Now, I totally understand. You hire a guy like Pete Davidson. He's a comedian. I got 2 girls, teenage girls. They think he's cute. They think he's funny. He was supposed to be the funny man. He had to play it straight. He did. Because everybody else was off the rails, you know? And I think Triller caught lightning in the bottle with that Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. show because they had, first of all, it was Tyson, okay? Yep. So you get the nostalgic, you get all the Tyson fans to tune in, and even the Roy Jones Jr. fans. And then there was an added surprise of Snoop Dogg just being himself during the broadcast, but all the other commentators kind of played their roles. And with last night's Triller broadcast, all the commentators, with the exception of Al Bernstein, were trying to Snoop Dogg it. But there's only one Snoop Dogg, just like there's only Tyson. So, I mean, my message, I can't tell Triller or anybody what to do.
Go ahead.
But my advice would be everybody to stay in their lane.
Okay.
If you're a professional commentator, then do that and be professional and allow Pete Davidson to be the funny guy and Snoop Dogg to be Snoop Dogg, but just be a little relaxed, get that contact high buzz, you know what I mean, and enjoy yourself.
It was whatever opinion you might have, it got the eyeballs. Look, we're talking about it right now on our first topic. 9 of the 10 top trending things on Twitter last night, 2 hours after the fight ended, were about that fight on Triller. The 8th one was about the Dodger victory that ended at that moment. Steve Kim, go ahead.
I'm not outraged. I mean, the longer I'm in this business, the less I take it seriously. I mean, look, I don't.
That's fair.
I don't want to come as the hard-boiled cynic, but the fact, I think boxing has an interesting dilemma here. They allowed this to happen. There's a vacuum within.
That was your tweet today, too.
Yes, because if you can't give me Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, and other fights to fill this void, and you're going to allow other entities to come out there and give you a night of entertainment. I think one thing they did right, and they did this back in November, the $50 pay-per-view.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
bought it because it was $50.
Yeah, I don't know why boxing keeps thinking they could raise the prices while giving us lesser fights. The other thing that's real interesting is we're not the demographic they're trying to appease. Yep. Now, generally, I get a kick out of it. I'm amused by it. I know people that are on that broadcast. I would say one critique, less is more. I think with boxing fans, that you don't need the 20, 30-minute interlude. Try to make it 10 to 15 and move the show. But again, we are not the demographic. But I would also say that I give Jake Paul credit and his brother. They promote themselves, and no one, look, I don't think that anyone with half a brain expects them to be world-class fighters.
Right.
But they have hit upon something in terms of self-promotion and making events that people, for whatever reason, care about. So, again, boxing can be angry at this. Boxing allowed this. This is on them.
Now, you say that they're fighting. That means they're in the ring. Are we ever going to see Anthony Joshua in the ring?
You mean with Tyson Fury? That's the question.
Well, I mean, who else? I don't want to see him fight anybody else.
This is where boxing allowed this to happen. Let me give you a key stat, and this is factual. Since February 22nd of last year, before the pandemic, keep this in mind, the trio of Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, and Anthony Joshua, they have fought a combined one time, and you're going to tell me this is a super fight? what I keep hearing about this fight is if they can find enough money in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia or Qatar or whatever, they're going to make the fight. Well, here's my question, because this thing vacillates between no, they're not going to do the fight till the winter, that it's suddenly too hot in the desert. I guess it's the global warming. I mean, really? Or they're just not going to get enough money. My question is, no matter what the site fee is, they're still going to be the highest paid fighters this year. So if they don't get that magical 100 million, are they just not going to fight for 70 million combined? It's ridiculous in my view. But what I was told by a source that's been very honest about this whole process, he believes as of this weekend, and this can change, he believes that Fury Joshua will happen sometime in July in the Middle East. And I think that's what the fight that needs to happen next.
Well, it better. It better.
Yeah, it has to happen. I think they're going to do the first fight. When Fury and Joshua agreed to face each other, it was a two-fight deal.
Okay.
So the first one is this year in the Middle East somewhere, probably Saudi Arabia, because they're just going to put up the money. You know, if it's not 100 million, whatever, it'll be 90 million or whatever. And that sets up the rematch, which will take place in the UK next year.
We hope.
Just
at a stadium, you know what I mean?
Well,
that's where it belongs.
I'm not going to bring up Errol Spence and Crawford. I'm going to leave that alone. Let's go with somebody who left a lasting impact and a legacy. Roar is the cap that he wore into the ring one time.
Yeah.
Marvin Hagler.
And his motto, destruction and destroy. And that's what he did. He was the dominant middleweight champion for the 80s. He was it. As far as who was the middleweight champion from 1980 to 1987, it was one guy, Marvin Hagler. He was just as dominant in the 160-pound division as his predecessor, the former champ, Carlos Monzon. And the only reason there were a few guys in between Monzon and Hagler is that after Monzon retired, the guys who won the middleweight titles wanted no part of Marvin Hagler, because the dude was ready to fight for the title in 1977, the year that Carlos Monzon had retired. And he would not get that shot until 1979 against Vito Antuofermo, and he was robbed by the Vegas judges. And really from that point on, he said, okay, this is the judge and this is the jury. And he was a complete fighter, a technician, walk his guys down, impeccable conditioning, an all-time great chin, skill, athleticism, grinded down his opponents, made 12 title defenses. He was the king of the middleweight mountain, and he was really never pushed off. You know, my boyhood hero, Sugar Ray Leonard, beat him by split decision, but it was very questionable. He left boxing on his own terms. I'm gone. The second time he got robbed in Vegas, he was like, okay, that's it. I'm out. I don't need this. And I really think, and Steve can speak to this, I think that really the fact that he left boxing on his own terms kept a low profile. Yeah. I think that added to his mystique.
That's what it was. And Steve, on your podcast that you do, the 3 knockdown rule, merch is available, by the way. You guys did a great job honoring Marvin.
Oh, thank you. Well, first of all, Marvin Hagler, to me, I haven't cared this much about a celebrity's death ever.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. He was my boyhood hero. To me, he was symbolic of a better day and place for the business of boxing in the 1980s. And to put this into perspective, what type of career he had, I hear of all these fighters not avoiding certain fighters because, they're too old, they've had too many fights. This guy, a year after fighting Tommy Hearns, was about to retire. He already had about 65 pro fights. It was a long slog. It was a grind. The number one contender at the time was a guy by the name of John the Beast Mugabe, 26-0, 26 knockouts, and any other fighter, I think, would have vacated the belts or found a way to skirt him or just retired. Hagler, at a very advanced stage of his career, fought him and ended up going into a war, stopping him in 11 rounds, March of 1986. I look at fighters today avoiding certain guys, and they give 15 different reasons. Hagler, I don't think, would have any of it. I think he looks at today's game and is probably already rolling over in his grave. I want to apologize, Marvin, for the state of boxing today. It's not our fault. We just watch. But Marvin Hagler, to me, when I think of that whole era with Duran, Leonard, Hearns, Hagler, the Four Kings, Showtime will be doing a documentary. And I think for a lot of NBA fans, how they felt about the last run or the last dance with Michael Jordan on ESPN,
that's what you gotta do.
They're going to watch that religiously, and I think have more enjoyment over the current state of the business. Now, to be fair, there are some good fights coming up. I think Showtime has a very good schedule. Jose Ramirez is fighting Josh Taylor. I think they'll finally get a venue, I think hopefully soon. There's some good stuff going on, but I just hope boxing understands when it comes to Jake Paul, don't blame Jake Paul, blame you. You did this.
This is why we take that break right there. Not because they clean the ring, but because you got to get this opportunity.
Chest.
Yeah, you got to do it, Steve. You got to just let them know, man. Let them know, man. Next time we'll bring Snoop in, you can hang out with him. Tell Mario Lopez to get you on that broadcast. We'll be all right. All right, so our main event coming up, Ruben Ace Torres. I don't say this lightly. Don't blink. Don't go anywhere. This dude likes to end them early. And when I asked him in the back, hey, are we getting rounds today? He said no. So I'll make sure his corner wasn't here. But he's looking for a knockout early on. Jessica Rosales is the third member of our crew. No, we're actually California. Where are we going right now? What am I doing here? We're going to, you know what? Let's go to the interviews right now for our main event.
During this pandemic, it's tough on everybody from getting in the gym to getting fights. So I'm very glad to be fighting tonight on Thompson's boxing card, especially as a main event. They're doing a great job keeping me busy. I know that Contreras is coming to win. These dudes, they're coming on the basis of an opportunity. They want to get the win and make their career go up. So they're in my way, and I'm just prepared to go the distance. I'm prepared to break them down, whatever I need to do to secure the win. I also want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight and following the movement. You're in for a great show. Shout out Thompson Boxing.
My trainer has prepared me very well for this show. I am more than ready to face Ruben Torres. We have worked really hard on resistance, on strength, and speed. So I know that I'm ready for this main event.
Sabemos que nuestro oponente Ruben Torres es un muchacho que está rankeado, que ahorita viene como invicto.
I know very well who he is. I know he's a young boy. He's an undefeated fighter. He is a big fish, and I want to gobble him up inside the ring. And I know I have all the tools to do it. Like we say in Mexico, we're here for all the marbles.
Le quiero decir a toda la gente y a la afición que estén al pendiente de esta pelea, que va a ser una pelea que va a dejar.
I want to tell everybody to pay attention to this fight. I know we both are ready, and we're going to fight really, really hard inside the ring. We're going to give it our best. I'm here to give you guys a good show, and I'm ready for a battle.
Making his way into the ring, Diego Contreras.
From Monterrey, Mexico, and Saltillo, Mexico, Diego Contreras, Sifo, making his way into the ring. 11-3 with 5 KOs. Y saludos a toda la gente en Monterrey, México. Casa de los Sultanes.
Across the ring, Ruben Torres.
Ace Torres making his way to the ring, undefeated, 14-0, 11 KOs. All business, the Ace.
We continue here at the Omega Products International Event Center, Corona, California. The action proudly presented to you by Thompson Boxing Promotions and being sponsored by Thompson Building Materials, transforming spaces into beautiful places. Omega Products International, the #1 stucco manufacturer in the United States. Henry Fortifiber. Moisture System Control, easy as 1, 2, 3. And Makita Tools. Rule the outdoors. This bout set for a distance of 8 rounds or less in the super lightweight division. Our judges scoring at ringside are Max DeLuca, Ron Scott Stevens, and Christy Rosario. At the sound of the bell, the man in charge of the ring, referee Raul Cais Sr. And now, ladies and gentlemen, prepare to be entertained. This is the 3-2-1 boxing main event. And we find out, ¿quién es el más macho? Presenting first, the fighter standing in the red corner. He enters the ring wearing white with silver trim. On the scale, he registered an official 138 pounds. And tonight, he enters the ring in his 15th professional bout with an impressive record of 11 victories against only 3 losses, 5 of those victories coming by way of KO. Representing Saltillo, Coahuila, Mexico, Diego El Sifo Contreras. Across the ring in the blue corner, wearing white with red and black trim, he weighed in at an identical 138 pounds. Tonight, he puts his undefeated record on the line, consisting of 14 victories, 11 of those victories coming by way of KO. Representing South Central LA, Ruben Torres.
Ok, muchachos, les di las instrucciones ahí abajo. Cuidado con las cabezotas, los golpes aquí están bien, dense la mano y buena suerte a los dos.
Let's see how these junior welterweights match up. Torres is the younger man. He has, actually, Contreras has a very slight reach advantage, but the decided height advantage goes to Ruben Torres.
Torres comes out aggressive in the red and white. He's 14-0, 11 KOs. Sifo Contreras, de Saltillo, Mexico. He's a veteran.
He's usually an aggressive fighter, usually a gutsy stalker. Likes to cover up and just walk his man down. He's got a decent hook, doesn't really let his hands go until he's in range.
Oh, and there it is. I told you guys in the open it's going to be quick, according to him.
Yeah, and Beto, early KO alert for Contreras. He was KO'd twice in 2019. Neither fight going more than 2 rounds. Keep that in mind.
As the Ace of SoCal checks in from San Francisco, he said this is going to be quick. Torres, after this, is going to go work with Arnold Barbosa in camp, and Sifo's in trouble immediately. He's wobbling, he takes a knee, and he goes down again for the second time.
Yeah, he's finished.
And it's over. That's it. A minute and 5 seconds. Ruben Torres told me that he was going to make it quick, and you sure did. And this is where we can get our commercials in. Let me get our shout out to everybody. Ruben Torres, I didn't even get a chance to say, hey, the main event is on right now, but congratulations to you. You're now 15-0, 12 KOs, and Diego Contreras is usually more rugged than that. He can take punches.
He's got a lot of pride. He's the kind of guy who likes to get the fight on, but if you're not extremely durable, like Torres' last 2 opponents, you're not going to last more than a round or 2 with him if you're trying to take the fight to him. He is just too tall, gets too much leverage on his punches, he's too accurate. He's a very athletic boxer puncher.
And we'll be back to more, and we'll get the interview, and we'll give you the particulars from 3-2-1 Boxing in Corona.
Discover the advantages of the Henry Fortifiber 123 moisture control system. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. Choose the weather barrier, add the flashing, then finish up with the Henry Moist Top Sealant. Done. No guessing, no gambling. Just the winning confidence you get from our compatible systems.
Experience the world's largest compatible cordless system. Makita's LXT batteries take you from power tools to outdoor power equipment. The blower delivers power comparable to a 24cc gas model. From the job site to your home, reach speeds of 116 miles per hour. Use Makita's cordless products anytime, anywhere. One system, endless possibilities. Now get 2 extra free batteries.
Yes, the commercial's been longer than the fight.
Here at
Ruben.
the Omega Products International Event Center, referee Raul Caiz Sr. waves off this bout with an official time of 1 minute 4 seconds of the opening stanza, declaring the winner by way of knockout and still undefeated, repping South Central LA, Ruben Torres.
Ruben Torres goes back to South Central with the victory. 104, the official. And there it is. And Torres, let me get the shout out. I'm still trying to send the tweet. I think we all are, Ruben Torres. I wanted to make sure to get this in for him because we've known the young man. He's from Thompson Boxing. But there you're going to see the knockout, Doug. Let's see what you see.
Contreras was trying to jab and throw a right hand from the outside. Torres just timed him. I want to see that first knockdown again.
Yeah, that was
because it was a beautiful counterpunch. Yeah, but Torres has got a great body game. He's a good body attacker. There's 2 left hooks to the body that really just took the legs away from Contreras.
So Contreras, you see the replay again, Doug. You asked for it.
Yeah.
Asking, you shall receive.
Jab to the body. Oh. Yeah. So Contreras falls short with his right hand, and Ruben just touches him with his right hand. Ruben is not just a athletic boxer puncher. He's very pinpoint with his shots. He's a very accurate puncher.
And he's a young man that's very close with his family. Saludos a su abuelo Jose Luis, who's watching us right now. It's the 2-year anniversary of the passing of his grandmother, who was one of his biggest fans. So the late Elsa Torres, and he said that was very important for him. June 6th is the next Thompson show. You're going to see Sal Sanchez and Richard Brewer on the card. Sal Sanchez will be fighting for a WBA Latin bantamweight belt. So that'll be the next one, June 6th. Location to be determined. It could be here. It could be outdoors. There might be fans. We just don't know. But hopefully we get some fans for you. But you'll be able to watch it on the Thompson Boxing Facebook stream. Steve, you told us about this young man a few years ago. You told Doug, watch out for him. It's not much you can tell from tonight, but he's got the goods.
You know, when Doug took this gig over, I said, Doug, there's a young man here that I think is going to remind you of Diego Chico Corrales, who we actually covered on his way up at the Grand Olympic Auditorium.
Yeah.
And you could just kind of see it. He's a long, lanky guy who's like a stick of dynamite who could turn over his punches and shorten long limbs, which he did on that first knockout. But let's be real. Tonight was not just batting practice. It was more like soft toss or hitting off a tee. But with that said, he just looks the part. And when people ask me, who's the best West Coast prospect we don't know of yet, I always say Ruben Ace Torres.
Yeah, I often say the same thing.
And he's standing by with Jessica Rosales.
All right, the cameras are on us as we're taking a picture here right now with tonight's winner. We got Ruben Ace Torres. Got that victory tonight. A very quick win for you. And you know what? I don't think that you thought the night was going to end this quickly, but let's talk about that fight.
Well, I knew he was a game opponent. He was going to come in and try to do whatever he could to take the win, and I just wasn't going to let him work too hard for that. It's been a great camp. I had put in a lot of work just for this night, so I'm glad that it came out. I'm glad he got up. I know it's a brutal business, but got to do what we got to do.
Yeah, so you dropped him first time, and then the second time he took that knee. Did you think that he was going to get back up after that, or did you know that that was going to be it?
I was kind of hoping he would get up so we could keep going and get a little bit more action in, but I seen he was pretty hurt. The body shot landed on the first one. I seen that he was hurt, so I kind of just went for it. I wanted a head knockout, which I got the knockdown, but I think more so he got hurt to the body.
Yeah, and of course we're going to tease you and say, you made this look so easy, but to make it look easy, you got to put in all that hard work behind the scenes. You got to put in all that work during camp. But let's talk a little bit about your sparring as well. Who were you sparring with to get ready for this fight?
My dogs, shout out Michael Dutchover, Arnold Barbosa Jr., and Chon Cepeda. We're doing a lot of work with them. Looking to continue working with them because those guys, they're in the gym pushing me, you know what I mean? So, and those are some top dogs right now on their way up, so they're going to keep pushing me, and I appreciate them.
All right, and you've been doing the 8-round fights. Those have been working out for you, obviously having, some success with that. Are you ready to move on to some 10-round fights and get some more work in there?
I would love to. I would love to. I feel like being that this is our first fight of the year, we did what we had to do, whatever they're going to put in front of me, but this is a big year, and it's only going up from here. So as long as we stay focused and keep working, anything's possible.
All right, and so what would you say is that next step for you? You're going to talk to your team, take some time off for a little bit. I think things kind of change as far as, what your plans are because of the situation that we're all in. So for you, what have you talked to your team about?
Just keep doing our business, handling our business, because, like I said, opportunities are limited right now, so case in point, that was what you kind of answered the question for me. Just go back with them and talk about how we can get better, and whoever Thompson puts in front of me, so we're taking them down.
All right. Well, Ace, what do you want to say to all the fans that were watching, whether it was on Facebook or YouTube, on the ThompsonBoxing.com website? What do you want to say to them?
Shout out. What's up, Uncle Neto? What's going on? There you go. You shout out. How you call it? I just want to thank everybody who bought a T-shirt, everybody who tapped in, everybody who bought a face mask, everybody who supported, even if you bought one before. Thank you so much for supporting. We're nowhere near the end. We're on our way up. So let's keep tapping in, and thank you. Shout out to everybody who tapped in, for real.
Yeah, and I got to give a shout out to Beto Duran, because he said that you told him that you were going to make it a quick night tonight. So a man of his word, you kept your promise to him right there. So
everybody keeps telling me let's go home. So I was like, all right, let's get it. Let's go home. What I mean?
Well,
also, I just want to, before COVID is hitting us, everybody very hard. So just want to give a shout out to my high school, Santa Fe, and one of the teachers that they lost, Mr. Casillas. He's actually I found out later, he's my coach Javi's first cousin.
Oh, wow.
So it ended up, it's just a small world, but I just wanted to put that in there. Rest in peace, Mr. Casillas.
All right, well, tonight's fight, you improved to 15-0, 12 KOs. Ruben Ace Torres, every time that you come on here, of course, it's always a pleasure to talk to you and do these interviews with you. So we're looking forward to the next one. And that's it, guys. I think we're wrapping it up. Time to go home.
Happy birthday, Caesar. 21. That's right.
Happy birthday, Caesar.
All right, that's cool.
All right, send it back to you guys.
A very charismatic young man. Good job, Ruben and Jessica. It's interesting when your interviews go longer than your fight, Doug, but that's what he's supposed to do, right?
Yes.
It's not his problem who they get here, but we've heard the words that in the gyms in Southern California, that's where the real battles are for Ruben Torres.
Right. If you don't have a reputation and have proven to be a durable fighter with a granite chin, like I'm saying, if you have knockouts on your record and you share the ring with Ruben Torres and you try to take the fight to him, it's going to be over quick. And that fight was really, some people could say, hey, it was over as soon as Diego Contreras signed the contract, okay? But no, in effect, it was over as soon as Torres landed that left hook.
Yep.
It was so short, it was so on point, and that's like the combination of a lot of things. It's a combination of natural ability, it's the combination of years of hard work and training. It's also just, it's intelligence. You could tell he's a bright guy in there, and those are the type of fighters that have a lot of potential in this game, and especially Torres. When you look at his age, 22, 23 years old, that height, he might even grow, another inch in the next year. He might be 6 feet tall. You're looking at somebody who could be a threat at lightweight, 140 pounds, and eventually 147 pounds.
And you mentioned this about the Chico Corrales reference, Steve Kim, but you also look at Ruben Torres. You can tell that he loves this. Is a kid who grew up boxing, got burned out, and in high school played football, and then went to college and realized, hey, so essentially 5 years off, that love is back, and now he lives that Spartan lifestyle where he's training at 5 in the morning. He's also serving as a sparring partner for guys that are better than him, where a lot of guys might be like, no, let me be the big dog in the gym. He doesn't have that attitude.
Yeah, tonight he must have had a 5:30 dinner reservation because he was in the ring at 4:53 and the fight ended at 4:56. Now here's what's interesting. You brought that up. I have a theory that a lot of young kids that have these long storied amateur careers, by the time they turn pro, actually are burnt out on boxing or really don't like the sport. It's strictly a job. When Ruben Torres took that respite to pursue other avenues of his life, it actually saved the battery life. And by the time Danny Zamora got him back into the gym, Danny actually said, Steve, I had no idea what I was getting back. He ended up getting a 24-karat diamond, it seemed. Like, tonight was a little bit of a soft touch. We have to be honest about it. But when you look and you kind of project at his physical tools, the mentality, and the development of skills, and the fact he's willing to sharpen his tools behind the scenes, if he was a stock, I would load up on this young man.
Is your like Bitcoin or the crypto?
Or even at least Ethereum. At least Ethereum.
I have no idea what that is. Well, whatever it is, look for Ruben Torres. Follow him on social media, Ace Torres. And from what it sounds like, he's going to be back this summer quickly. The next Thompson Boxing Show will be June 6th in Corona. Sal Sanchez, Richard Brewer on the card. That means Henry Ramirez will up with his Dodger hat or his red hat. One of those. We'll have more information. As always, go check out everything on the Thompson Boxing social media page. And great job by the social media crew, Kite and everybody else. As soon as the fight was over, fighters are in the ring, and you go on Instagram, and they've already posted the winner. That's how you got to do it. Promote your guys. So for everybody involved with Thompson Boxing, Paula Fornia, Joe Pahar behind the scenes, all the camera crews, all the audio guys, everybody make sure that we pass the COVID test. Jeanette Gonzalez, Alex Capanovo, and Mr. Ken Thompson. For my partners, Steve Kim, Doug Fisher, I'm Beth Durant. Thanks for watching 321 Boxing.